My friends listening to the Z Report live right here, J Network Scoop Radio, Nachum Siegel Network, 12:02. As I said, 12 o'clock, we're going to have some special guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my esteemed pleasure to welcome for the very first time on the show, one and only mixmaster, arranger, producer, vocalist, musician, Mordy Weinstein.
What's up? I can't believe it's my first time on the show.
I don't know how to introduce you, man. You do too many things, you know?
I think it's all those things.
There's the double threat, there's the triple threat, and there's the quadruple, or like, I don't know what happens after 5.
It's, I don't know. You just keep finding more things to do. I think that's the goal.
So, Mordy, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
I want to wish you a mazel tov on the new album. I'm very, very excited. Both of the new albums, because realistically, you're doing better than most artists. You released 2 albums within a 2-month span?
Couple months, yeah. Yeah, 2 months, 2-3 months, something like that. Yeah. Well, I couldn't have done it without you, so.
I'm glad to help out.
You definitely got to share that mazel tov.
But I'm just giving you advice or trying to tell you which songs to use. You're the one actually doing the work in the studio. So right. we know, Mordy, how people are saying how, you know, music albums cost $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 because there's so much time involved in finding songs and arrangements and choirs. We know it's less so in acapella. But why don't you tell our listeners, you know, what is involved in creating one of these 3 or 4 track EPs? How much time is involved and what's the process?
Yeah, so it's a little different. I guess it kind of depends on how much of the work you can consolidate into one person. Mm-hmm. So because, you know, for these kinds of projects, I'm overseeing everything and I kind of run the workflow. I figured out like a system that works for me, and everybody's got their own systems that work differently for them. But for me, it starts with conversations and figuring out what songs to pick, which is a humongous part of the job. Mm-hmm. Once I have the original songs, kind of figuring out, talking to the original performers, you know, if I want to feature them on the song, if it's just going to be me, if it's featuring them, kind of getting hands on either their original vocals or if they want to re-record. And then from there, it's like sometimes I'll ask them for the instrumental playback of the song, just so I have a framework of what to work with. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times I'll just kind of listen to the song and do it without the actual track like in there. And it's, you know, that sort of thing is like kind of my bread and butter. I'm used to listening to songs and kind of picking things out and building harmonies and building lines and chords and things out of what's already there. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I work with a few different engineers that I bring on to do the editing and mixing job. So handling any of the post-production work, tuning the vocals, lining them up, mixing. I don't do that stuff in-house. Mm-hmm. I have guys that I trust more than myself. And then releasing it and you know, spreading it around, sharing it and marketing it as much as possible. So I would say from the time that I sit down to arrange a particular song, I don't know, each song takes me, it really depends. I think the shortest it's ever taken me to arrange a song in studio is probably like 2 hours, wow, start to finish, really? which is really not a long time. The longest it's taken me is, you know, I've taken like weeks kind of getting up and sitting back down and fresh ears, fresh eyes in front of it. So it really depends on the song. A lot of times once I've chosen a song, I'll listen to it a few times. So by the time I sit down to work on it, I already know kind of exactly what I'm going to do. And it's just actually recording it.
Now, does that have to do with how familiar you are with the song or not really?
Not really. The truth is, so Don't Leave Me on My Own by Zusha is one of the songs on this EP. And I knew the song. I wouldn't say I knew it like intimately well. I knew it. I had heard it. I'd listened to it a few times, but it wasn't a song that I, you know, listened to on repeat all the time. But, you know, I think I've found in working on so many different songs over the years that there are a lot of songs that, I mean, songs in general, production wise, there's kind of like a thing that happens in the song, and then the song is built around that thing, like some production or melodic or harmonic hook or thing that happens, and then everything else kind of builds around it. So once you can isolate what's the thing that makes a song tick, it becomes a lot easier to build around it. And that's whether you are super familiar with the song or you're just listening to it for the first time. Mm-hmm. It's kind of getting into the habit of being able to hear, like, what is the thing about this song?
Now, would you say that is the ooh, That line in the middle.
It's two things, yeah. So it's the ooze, and then it's that like plotting little piano things like that thing. Those two together, you hear that, and it's unmistakably that song every time.
It really is. I got to tell you, I'm really, really impressed. I love the way this song came out. Did you have to look up the lyrics? Because a lot of people don't know what Zusha's singing a lot of the time. They'll hear some words and they'll just make up other words.
Definitely, yeah. No, I wanted to stay pretty true to it, so I looked it up. I did my research just to be 100% sure.
I was gonna say that's for sure one, because I had people, they're like, "That's what they're saying." I heard Mordy Weinstein.
Exactly.
I was like, I didn't know that's what they're saying.
Exactly. I was like, no, I have to make sure I'm right about this. I did the same thing with the Shirley Green song. I was like, there's Yiddish in here. I'm not native Yiddish speaker, and I was like, I got to make sure I know what's happening here.
I got to tell you, the diversity just on this album alone. You were saying that it depends if you're getting the vocals or if they're re-recording the vocals. So one thing I noticed on this album, from what I'm listening to, to me it sounds like Sruli used the original, but to me it also sounds like Aryeh redid his, because it doesn't sound like the original song.
You're spot on. So Sruli used the original vocals. Aryeh re-recorded it. We actually decided collectively that we wanted to lower the song a little bit, like lower the key,
right?
Just so it'd be more comfortable for both of us. We'd be able to kind of explore and have a little bit more fun vocally. So we took the entire song down a little bit. And even if we didn't do that, I think he probably would have wanted to redo his vocals, kind of make sure they matched with an acapella version of the song, which sometimes has like a little bit of a different feel from an original, from like the instrumental version. So yeah, exactly. So Sruli original vocals, Aryeh re-recorded, and Zusha was just me.
I gotta say, I was really impressed with two things with the Sruli Green song. First off, with your Yiddish. It's like I was just playing today, Morty, the Yeshivish mix from 613. I don't think you were part of the group back then.
That was before my time. Yeah.
Just listening to Mike Boxer doing Lipa's Gelt in Yiddish,
unbelievable!
It makes me rock and laugh every time I hear it.
Every time, it's so good. It's so funny to listen to.
But this is great. I mean, this must have taken you some time to try to, because Yiddish is not something you want to do with like an English accent. It's something you want to get as close to authenticity as possible.
Yeah, the truth is, so languages has, in general, I've always been kind of like pretty familiar with language in general. And it's not like I never heard Yiddish. Like my parents spoke Yiddish, my grandparents spoke Yiddish. So I've heard it, and I also knew the song pretty well. I listened to this one a lot. So I did the research. I went through and made sure I could hear what he was singing and what it was, how it was spelled and how it was pronounced. But yeah, for sure, it takes that. Some of that stuff takes a lot of the time, actually.
I got to tell you, I was very impressed with the English. I never heard that before. How'd you come up with these English lines that match the Yiddish, but it still kind of blends and there's still plenty of Yiddish in the song?
Yeah, so I got to give credit to Srili there. So I was watching one of the Thank You Hashem live sessions. They do these like acoustic 25-minute like little sessions with different singers, different artists.
Right.
And at one point in the session, they played Kel Mistater, and then Mendy Portnoy asked Srili, "Hey, I don't speak Yiddish. What is the song about?" And he sang back the hook in English. And he sang back, "Kel Mistater, where are you hiding?" And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I stored that in my mind for later. And then when I reached out to Srili and we were talking about how we were going to handle splitting the song, he was like, "By the way, like why don't you do an English version or a Hebrew version? Like that way it's kind of like a little bit of a new version of the track." And there's no recorded version of it aside from that Thank You Hashem live session. So, And even there, he didn't sing it in the song. He just explained it afterwards. So, Srili's idea, and it made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense for the mix and match between the two of us.
I mean, you hear a lot of color in your voice, because from the Zusha, you're doing the dum dum dums, right, at a very high pitch,
right.
And then you're Ribono Shel Olam Imanika. That's a big change for you vocally to go from so high to so low.
Yeah, the truth is, building out these tracks acapella wise, you have to be able to, unless you're kind of sending it out to somebody else or doing some studio magic, you have to be able to sing things that are in like low bass range, and some stuff that's a lot higher. So that having that skill set from arranging all this stuff actually helps in terms of being able to sing the lead vocals too.
Have you heard back any feedback from Aryeh and Sruly about the album, about the songs?
Aryeh is loving it. I haven't heard much from Sruly. He's been insanely busy.
That's true.
And Aryeh has also kind of been hunkering down. He's working on his album,
right?
But he and I are talking about some other stuff in the future moving forward. So everybody's very, very thrilled with it. Aryeh is getting tons and tons of great feedback. I'm getting tons of great feedback for Hashem. So really thrilled with how this whole project came out.
I got to tell you, I've been pushing Aryeh to do acapella for years, like seriously. And then the reels took off, and then he's thinking of doing his own, version acapella. And I'm like, Aryeh, you gotta can't cut corners. You got to do this kind of properly. So I got to think now. If Morty's taking suggestions, let's see. I would say The Promise.
Okay.
Open Heart. And these words. You have to do these words.
Yeah.
These words is like my all-time favorite Aryeh song. Like if you didn't do Avodat Halev, it would have to be these words.
The other one that I considered was Kol Haneshamah, because it already has so much of that harmonic stuff built into it.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And we just did it with him at the Incredible Kids show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so full, it's so rich. That was one that I thought about, but Avodat Halev has just always been, since he released it, it's just always really spoke to me, and I really love singing it. So it's kind of like a no-brainer. When I reached out to him, he said a few people had spoken to him about doing acapella covers, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know, it's not right, not the right fit." And I guess whatever it was, the timing, the personalities, the musicality, whatever it was, I'm thrilled that he rolled with me on this one.
Well, all music fans are. Ladies and gentlemen, Mordy Weinstein with us via telephone, talking about the release of Kol Haneshamah, released just 2 weeks ago, 3-song EP, 1 song starring Aryeh Kunstler, 1 song featuring Sruly Green, and of course, all songs featuring Mordy Weinstein. We were just talking about earlier, Sefira season, you released Kol Hamesameach, your first EP, and that one you had teamed up with Schlagbaum, Gelf, Craig, and Zalman, all guys who you have a long-time relationship with. Do you know what the number 1 streaming song was off that album? I'm curious.
Depends on 24/6 or on the other streaming platforms.
You tell me what's the difference. I'm going to say May Ayin Yavo.
So on 24/6, May Ayin Yavo is number 1.
Okay, and on the other platforms?
At least on Spotify, Ivdu is number 1.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, and I think May Ayin Yavo is like right behind it. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think I haven't checked like in the last couple of days, but as I remember seeing that May Ayin Yavo was top of 24/6 and very close to the top of Spotify.
Okay, now we're going to go a little bit backwards now. The first time I became aware of Mordy Weinstein or seen him or heard of him was through 613. But Mordy, how did you get involved in music and in production and a cappella? Like, where did that come from?
Oh gosh. I got involved almost by accident in high school. I went to Yeshiva Flatbush, and I joined my high school choir and a cappella group, and I kind of just really, really fell in love with it. And then in college, I just kept singing, and I did a lot of these Shabbos a cappella, improv gigs and things like that. And I just sort of said yes to all the singing opportunities that came up. And in college, at one point, we were working on an album, and we didn't really have like a studio plan. We had hired other people to do it. And I said, you know what, if the group buys some of the gear, I'll learn how to record. And I was getting interested in arranging. So I kind of just on the fly, learned how to do a lot of the parts of that job. Yeah. I asked around, and I worked with some other people who had a lot more experience than me. And, just by doing it, learned how to do it and do it more efficiently and do it better. Learned more recently a lot from Mike Boxer. He's an unbelievable arranger and producer.
He really is.
I've learned so much from him, kind of working closely with him and seeing how he handles a lot of this stuff. Doing that, working with a lot of the engineers and producers that I was talking about, like guys who I send stuff to for editing and mixing. I've learned a lot of stuff from those guys. So it's kind of just taking different opportunities and trying to learn as much from them each as possible has led us here.
So you are still a member of 613?
Yes.
But we should mention that you have produced stuff for 613, I think the Wide Studs, the Maccabeats, and others, correct?
Yes, many others. These days, I do a lot of stuff for Thank You Hashem also on the acapella front.
That's right,
so
and Chesky Weiss.
And Chesky Weiss. Those are the two most recent, somewhat consistent projects. So Chesky released Kol, Volume 1 was last summer, Volume 2 was for Sefira. So those are really, really cool projects, all songs by Chesky Weiss.
I think you did the MBD track over there, Krach Nechmad.
I did, Krach Nechmad, yeah.
And the Lipa song, which has, I feel it has like a Star Wars feel to it. I don't know, it's just me.
Crazy song. So much fun. And then Thank You Hashem, Healing Melodies Volume 1, 2, and 3. 3 just came out for the 3 weeks this year.
You can hear Morty very clear on Holiest Yet in the World. You can definitely, that's the clearest track you can hear him on.
Yes, for sure.
That Alex Clare song, though, is amazing, I gotta tell you.
It's fun, the Rebuild Again one?
Yeah.
So it's funny, the way this, Thank You Hashem often puts together these albums like somewhat last minute, and this one came about to a certain extent because someone from Incredible Kids reached out. They're making a movie, and I think it's supposed to come out on Tisha B'Av or it's out already. I actually don't remember exactly.
Okay.
But they reached out to me and asked, would you arrange a song a cappella? It happens to be an Alex Clare song, and I was like, actually, I might be the exact person you want to reach about this. Right. So I reached out to Thank You Hashem. I was like, are you guys doing an a cappella album this year? If so, there's somebody who wants to do a version of Rebuilt Again. And they're like, great, we'll just make that one of the songs. We'll do 7 songs and make Rebuilt Again part of it. So it all kind of built around that. But I think this was the 3rd Alex Clare song I've worked on. It's so much fun to work on stuff with his voice.
I got to ask you one question. I'm going to interrupt you, Morty. Whose idea was it to keep the reverb on his voice for this entire song?
Mostly, I think it was somewhat built in. A lot of times when they went for the Thank You Hashem projects, they'll send me the original vocals already mixed, kind of like as they are in the original songs. Okay. And then we use that as kind of like the template to build out the rest of the song.
I love it. I love the raspiness of his voice. I love the authenticity of the song now that it's being stripped down without the music. I get to hear these kids' choirs, in the background.
Yeah. It's crazy to remove a lot of the stuff, and you get to hear so many of the elements that are in there. I actually think that one of my favorite ones from this album was Can You Carry Me, which is a DJ Izzy production.
Right.
And it's also Alex Clare, and it's like an EDM track. Like it's a full on crazy EDM track. And if you haven't heard the original after Tisha B'Av, you should listen to it. It's amazing. But it's a real challenge to kind of redo that song without the beatboxing, without like a lot of the vocal percussion, a lot of the things that make it what it is.
Right.
But it was so much fun to work on, and it was really cool to kind of be able to strip those things out and still see what it looks like with all those elements removed.
It's still got to be crazy. You're working with Aryeh Kunstler, you're working with Sterling Green, you're working with Gelf, Schlagbaum, you're working with 613, Y Studs, Maccabeats, and then who would have thought that Mordy Weinstein back in Yeshiva Flatbush would be doing a song for Alex Clare for a cappella?
Definitely not me. I would be the last person to think that.
We do have to mention that Morty, besides being an a cappella producer, arranger, and all over mixmaster, has his own songs out there. He has Achenu, he has Anila Dodi, he has Hadar Noah, he has an a cappella version of Mordechai Shapiro's Hayom, a cappella version of Bubba Niggin. Of course, his most recent song, I think, was Hodu, right?
Yep.
And then he has a song that he did with a bunch of singers that he released entitled Ma'asim Tovim that was recorded for his wedding.
Yes.
So Morty's around. Morty, if somebody wants to get in touch with you to produce something, how would they go about that?
They can email me, mordy.weinstein@gmail.com. You can find me on all the social medias, Mordy Weinstein on Instagram. You can hit me up on WhatsApp, on wherever. I'm very easily contactable, and I am generally pretty responsive. So people can find me everywhere, and people can also look at some stuff on YouTube. And stay tuned, because after Tisha B'Av, I got a new song coming out also, a new and original.
Very, very excited. Ladies and gentlemen, Mordy Weinstein, Mazel Tov on the new album. Keep doing what you're doing, Morty. We need more great Jewish a cappella for people who say, a cappella is boring, it's stupid, it's depressing. It's not. It really is.
No,
you can make it fun.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Thank you so
Mordy,
much.
Thank you so much. Have a great summer.
You too.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the one and only Mordy Weinstein here off the brand new EP. Here he is with Shirley Green entitled Kel Mistater. You're listening to the Z Report Live right here. J Network Scoop Radio, Nachum Segal Network.
Kel Mistater, ken me nicht wartet, ich will dir sein, bewahrst am Punam. Kel Mistater, ich ken me nicht wartet, ich will dir sein, bewahrst am Punam. Kel Mistater, where are you hiding? I've been searching